Now at 6, the case against suspected Delphi killer Richard Allen will soon come to a close. The last-minute push to closing arguments for both sides.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
This will truly be the golden age of America.
Former President Trump is elected President of the United States once again. Coming up tonight at 6, some of the advantages that he'll see on his first day in office and what Vice President Harris is saying today.
Plus, Hoosiers paint the state red. The first steps for Governor-elect Mike Braun after the GOP wins big on election night.
Another 70-degree day, but a cold front is passing as we speak. Does that mean a big cool-off? Not just yet. I'll show you when we could have more 70s in my 7-day forecast.
Breaking now at 6, the defense in the Delphi murders trial rests its case. Now the jury is expected to get that case tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for joining us for our News at 6. I'm Beairshelle Edmé.
And I'm Dan Spieler. The defense team spent days trying to create doubt about the prosecution's case against Richard Allen.
In Delphi, Russ McQuaid, Fox 59 News.
17 days later, closer to possibly seeing justice here in this case. Russ, thank you. Well, be sure to stay with us for closing arguments and jury deliberations. We'll also have our crews inside the courtroom tomorrow, gathering the final details before the case is handed over to the jury. Then we will be on verdict watch for as long as it takes.
Find our extensive coverage on this entire case.
Happening now, Indianapolis leaders are putting a focus on winter weather. I know it feels a little weird to talk about that as we've got 60s here in the forecast. DPW is adding dozens of new drivers to their CDL program to prepare, and there is concern, as always, over potholes yet again. Well, a breakdown of DPW's plan to take on Mother Nature later this year is coming up in our next half hour. Meanwhile, we want to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Brian Wilkes, who says it will feel more like fall overnight. So if you're tired of spring and summer, here you go.
Fall weather will be here.
Didn't the plows look pristine? The nice
They're
paint
ready to
job.
go.
It looks
But we
really good,
don't want them
right?
to look like that. They need to look dirty, meaning they cleaned off the streets.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. But, you know, we haven't had to scrape away a lot of snow.
No,
so I think it's pretty interesting that the potholes have been such an issue. We're going to kind of delve into that, too, in the next couple of weeks when we come out with our official winter forecast.
Yeah.
But we haven't had really a big blast of cold air so far this season. I'll show you when we could have a major pattern shake-up in my 7-day forecast.
Elect Trump will be making history as the first president who's been convicted of a felony, the eldest president to ever be inaugurated, and the second person ever to return to the White House without back-to-back terms.
But he's far from the only candidate here to make history on November 5th. Democratic Senators-elect Lisa Blunt Rochester from Delaware is the first black woman to represent her state in the Senate, and Angela Alsobrook is the first black senator to come from Maryland. Their wins together also marks the first time 2 black women have served in the Senate at the same time.
Also from Delaware, Sarah McBride is headed to Congress, becoming the first openly transgender member of the House of Representatives. And Republican Bernie Moreno in Ohio is the first Hispanic person to hold statewide office in Ohio. He's the first senator who was born in South America.
Meanwhile, the Hoosier state also was one of the first states to call the race for the White House. Moments later, results trickled in for Indiana's next governor, Mike Braun. And before 10 o'clock, it was clear Attorney General Todd Rokita will stay in office, and Congressman Jim Banks will move to a new chamber and be sworn in as a U.S. Senator. But after a big night for Republicans, all eyes still on the Hoosier state, especially our governor, the top of the ticket now. We know Governor-elect Mike Braun is looking forward to what's next in his career path. We're speaking now with Fox 59 State House reporter Hannah Adamson about what the next 68 days will look like for Indiana's next governor.
Reporting from the State House, I'm Hannah Adamson.
Still no arrests after a 17-year-old is gunned down on Indy's Far East Side. The ongoing work the victim was putting in to stay away from a life of violence, and the message from city leaders this evening.
A massive fire devastates a local nonprofit dedicated to giving back to our veterans. Tonight, the way the Pacers are teaming up with former Colts star Pat McAfee to help that group through recovery.
And the 2024 election tips the balance of power on Capitol Hill. Coming up, the advantage Republicans hold in the Senate and when we are expected to learn who will control the House of Representatives. We're on top of that coming up next.